Hey guys, Ultra Maximus here with another Transformers review, going back to the animated line. And I saw this guy, and I've had him out for a little bit, and I wanted to talk about him, is Animated Grimlock. Love this figure. He is a Voyager class figure from the animated series. This is obviously him in his Tyrannosaurus Rex mode, and what I love, I'm a big parrot guy, and if you know anything about parrots, you put your foot or your finger up, or hand or whatever, and then you tell them to step up. So there's me, Grimlock, stepping up. I love that. I just think that is hilarious. But yeah, so he's a Voyager class figure. Pretty cool. There are things I like about this figure and things I don't. The character himself in the show. The Dinobots were probably one of my more favorite parts of the show. They were comical. They were cool. They had an interesting introduction to the show. They're totally different than the G1 figures or G1 characters, and I love how Grimlock's name comes from Megatron being trapped in a lab. You know, it's just the outcomes Grim locked in a laboratory, and he started saying Grimlock, and that's how he got his name. I thought that was kind of interesting. Grimlock was the only one that talked out of the three Dinobots. There was Snarl, who was actually Slag, but they called him Snarl, and they ended up explaining why later in the Replacement Autobots episode. And then Swoop. Now, Swoop and Snarl never talked. It was only Grimlock that talked. And Corey Burton, I believe, was the one that did the voice for Grimlock. And he did a good job. It was very reminiscent of the original Grimlock. A little bit more comedic, but it's fine. And the characters, Dinobots, really kind of did their own thing. The Autobots only interacted with them occasionally. Probably the absolute best two scenes with the Dinobots, in my opinion, are when Ultra Magnus and Sentinel Prime, they're going to go to the Ark to find these shards of the Allspark, and, you know, Prime's like, you know, be careful, you know, watch out for the woods, and Sentinel Prime's like, well, are you afraid there's a big bad Decepticon? He's like, no, Dinobots, and they pop out and attack, and it's pretty amusing. That's a good scene. I also like the scene with the Pretenders when Black Arachnia basically makes the Pretenders. She's got these monster things that look like, well, they were an homage to the G1 Pretenders, and the Dinobots pretty much kick their ass, which is pretty awesome. The figure itself. So here he is in Tyrannosaur mode, and I like the fact that it's more like the actual, the stance of the dinosaur is more like what modern day science looks at the Tyrannosaur, where the old one had him with the tail dragging. It was very old school style Tyrannosaur, where this one's kind of more like a bird, where it's using the tail as balance. And I took a lot of paleontology classes in college, a lot of electoral classes, and I actually ended up teaching some introductory courses. So I'm really big into dinosaurs, and I liked how they went with that on this design. So I thought that was very, very cool. Again, the design is very similar to the G1. We have the same G1 color scheme. We got this nice gray, these wonderful, wonderful red stripes, and we got the gold plastic, which is actually paint. Some very nice paint apps. I love these little tiny arms. The head sculpt is awesome. It looks just like it did in the show. We do have a gimmick where we push down and his little mouth opens. Me, Grimlock. That is very cool. I do dig that. The legs look very nice. We got some nice detail here. The tail is looking pretty decent. Dino butt there. And then on this side, he's got his Autobot logo. Very cool. The feet are very articulated. He poses pretty decently. I mean, he's a Tyrannosaur, so there's not too terribly many poses you're going to do with him. He's on his back legs are on a ball joint, and then he has a double knee joint here and here, and then both his feet can go in and out, and then we've got the little tiny arms, and really, unfortunately, they don't really move, but that's okay. His head, unfortunately, doesn't really move, but we do get the gimmick out of it. So it is what it is kind of deal. Now, the thing I don't like, and this is really the only drawback, Underneath, we have this huge open, gaping cavity, which we can see Grimlock's head. So when we're standing like this, we've got this cavity there. It'd been nice to have just a single plastic piece to be able to flip down, or maybe 2 pieces to fold out to hide that. Other than that, this is almost a perfect, I think, alternate mode for the character. So yeah, I'm really do dig him. I think he's very cool. They did a good job with the sculpt. So let's take a look at this guy in robot mode. Totally forgot, before we go to alt mode, I wanted to point out his light piping on this character. He does have a lot of light piping up there, and it actually turns out very, very cool. I mean, it just looks very, very awesome. So they did a very good job with the light piping on this guy. So wanted to make sure to point that out before we went into robot mode. So, all right, let's take a look at that robot mode. All right, so here we have Grimlock in his robot mode, and he looks really cool. He looks pretty show accurate. His transformation style is not really that much different than it is from the original G1 figure, which is kind of cool. Some things I really like about this. One, he does have his dinosaur head backpack and the 2 pieces that fold out. Again, that's very G1-like, so I'm not really upset about that at all, having that backpack back there, because it does look like the old toy, especially with these wings coming off. And he had that in the show. His head, I mean, it spins back and forth like that. Again, this is another great light piping figure. Look at that. I mean, that looks amazing. Absolutely love that. His legs have become the arms, and he looks really, really cool. That fantastic chest piece there with that clear plastic and the circuitry under it. We got the Autobot logo, the red bottom torso. He's got little back legs. And then he's got these nice, big, massive, bulky feet, which are very cool. He stands very, very stable-like. And his feet become the actual hands. He doesn't have hands that fold out from the feet like the old G1 figure did, but they actually become the hands, which I personally think is a lot cooler. So that's very nice. Now, his elbows are kind of weird because they're that Tyrannosaur back leg piece there. So those are kind of odd, but they're fine. They're okay for what they are. I don't mind. You know, everything looks pretty cool. I mean, he does not have much at all as far as, you know, he's got his backpack there, but everything else is very smooth. We've got a little bit of empty space back there in robot mode, but that's okay. That's forgivable. All in all, I really like this figure. I think he looks very, very cool. Now, he does come with, all the Dinobots came with like a flame-type weapon. This is his sword, which is very, very cool. And then it also has a gimmick. If you look, and it's in his right hand, he can hold it in either hand. There's a little tab piece in there, but on the right hand, there's a little button piece that goes in to activate the sword. So, let me see if I can do this on camera here. When you put the sword in his hand, if I can get it in there, there we go. And you can, where's it at? Oh, there it goes. So we put that in there, and there's a button right here that releases, and the flames come out. So, bink, there we go. Very cool, very neat. He's got this great big, humongously flaming sword that doesn't sound right at all, but very cool. Of all the Dinobot weapons, I think this one is probably the coolest of them. The other ones are okay looking, but this just looks really nice. I really dig that. It just looks like molten lava and rock and fire, and just very cool, and the hilt looks really nice. I think they did a very good job with this guy. So, very cool figure. If you see him, definitely pick him up. He's very cool, very fun. One of the better Grimlock toys, I think, that's ever been put out. Really dig him, really like him. So there he is, guys. Grimlock from Transformers Animated. Woo! Thanks for watching. Look for more videos in the future.